Elitist is how I see the state of, I guess, metal, hardcore, just heavy-based music. That's what Elitist is. It's how I see, I guess, the state of heavier music. And I touched on three different aspects, fans, labels, and artists. Reason being is because everybody has their hand in this cookie jar. Everybody, that they play a role in the state of heavier based music. Once upon a time, metal acts were crossing over into the mainstream. Now, not as much, and I believe that's really just everybody kind of has their hand in the cookie jar, all three aspects, and that's why it's in the state that it's in. Starting with the artist, a lot of gimmickness, if that's even the word. It's a lot of gimmick stuff going on with these artists. They see a band that is successful and they believe that this is a module for success. Gotta look this way, gotta have my tattoos, gotta have my comb over my all black, or dress like a 40s, 50s dad or something like that. Like, this is what everybody's doing right now. It's because they see another band did it and they were successful doing it, so they feel like they have to do that. They gotta look that way. Then on top of that, they gotta turn, that's a band singing here. That's successful bands. They're singing here. They're screaming here. So we gotta do that as well. And their guitar riffs are like this, the drum patterns are like this, and we kind of gotta replicate that because they feel like that's gonna get them successful. When honestly, if they were just a lot more original, they would help this scene, because it would get stale real quick because all of these bands are trying to put out the same exact music, and not trying to be original. And that's really was my message to the artists. They need, just cut the gimmick, be yourself, be great, and they would, honestly, I feel like you're gonna see more success in being, at least long term, because what happens is a lot of these artists, because they try to sound like another band, they're popular for a song or two and they fall off, But honestly, the originality is lacking right now. The honesty, the realness is lacking right now. And the labels, they play a big role in it because they're the ones funding this. They're handpicking these bands to support, because, this band sounds like this. We got this band on our label that sounded like this. We're gonna kind of handpick them and kind of lift them up, fund them, allow them to tour and whatnot, get behind them, give them the financial backing. When that's the role that the labels play. If they feel like honestly they could do a better job in actually picking bands that are a lot more original. And the fans honestly play the largest role in this. And when I say fans, I don't mean to separate labels and artists from the fans. When I say fans, I mean everybody. We're all fans, whether it be labels, label representatives, they're fans, artists like myself, we're fans of music, obviously, So everybody's a fan. People that don't play music are fans. So everybody's fans, and they honestly probably play the largest role in the state of the scene right now, because it's a couple of different things going on with the fans. Number one, it's a big division in metal and heavier bass music. You go to your favorite bands, you go look at YouTube, and you go look at the comments, you'll see one way or another argument or something stemming from the band and what genre they're in. Like, we will legitimately, we're having arguments about what genre. Is it metal? Is it hardcore? Is it metalcore? Is it progressive? That's the silly arguments, and all it's doing is creating a division, And then, this band sounded better in their first album, Then now they're too mainstream and all this. It's like cut it out. And what it's doing is creating a division, because these fans, this particular fan likes to, or a group of fans, don't listen to anything that has singing in it. It has to have screaming, and screaming only. Singing is for, pussies and whatnot. So that's all they listen to. Then you got these other bands who don't like screaming so much, or a lot of other fans, that don't like screaming so much. So all they jam is music that has singing, And both of these fan bases are crossing into other fan bases just to hate on a band that's not of their preference. That's the silliness, and it's creating division in metal and in hardcore or heavier bass music right now. It's one thing to have a preference, but it's another thing to hate. You know, you gotta go out your way to hate. You know, I can dislike something, but you won't know from me if I dislike it. You know, because I'm not gonna sit up there and that's not necessary. I'd rather put all my effort in supporting musicians and artists that I love rather than hating on a band that I really don't feel their music and whatnot. If we just came together as fans, and when I say come together, I mean put all of our you know, time and effort in supporting bands that we love rather than hating on bands that we don't. You know what I mean? That's the silliness that's going on. I feel like that's why other people that don't listen to metal, they sitting here laughing at us, thinking we're silly and supporting the music that we support, and a part of that is the division. You know, there's not as much togetherness as there was in metal in the past, you know. And also with fans, you know, the financial aspect, you know, sneaking in the shows and illegally downloading their favorite bands' music. That's another thing that obviously hurts the bands. A lot of bands break up due to debt. You know what I mean? So if you really truly support this band, definitely me as an artist, I can speak from that, you know, perspective. I can't say enough how much, you know, you buying a shirt or, you know, you paying X amount of dollars to get in and show how much that helped that particular band keep making the music that you love. You know what I mean? So really the fans, as I said, they play the biggest role. And the fans really just we as fans, cut the nonsense, just support the bands that we love. You know, honestly, we could come together as a whole and really be on top. There's no reason why heavier bass music can't be on top of, you know, particular music in general. You know what I mean? We just need to cut the nonsense. Artists need to cut the nonsense. Labels need to cut the nonsense, and metal will be back on top.